Hello, hello, beautiful rays of light. Thank you for joining me in this time and space. I am Nikei S Salas, author, inspirational giver, well-being educator, and I am here. One of my purposes is to teach you how to enjoy life. We want to live better, right? And how do we do that? By positively affecting our mind, our body, our emotions, so our spirit can flow. So today we have another special guest, Miss Thirmanda Zavala. Amanda will be sharing her healing journey of how she is healing herself from different diagnoses, but also you all, how she is helping and teaching others how to heal themselves. So thank you for joining me, Amanda, health coach, Amanda Zavala.
Hi. Thank you for so much for having me on.
Yes, Amanda. I want you to go on a little bit more about like even with what you're doing with the health coaching, but to even come into the health coaching, right? What was the diagnosis or the disease that was told to you, and what made you decide after receiving that news or information for you to go into healing yourself?
Yes, beautiful questions. Um,
Mm.
so I
Mhm.
I got into health coaching
Mhm.
for a reason where most health coaches come in. Either
Mhm.
they have their own healing journey
Mhm.
or they have a loved one
Yes.
that has
Yes.
their healing journey and they've helped them out with that.
Mhm.
And so basically in my early 30s, I was
Okay.
starting my whole life I had some kind of health issues.
Okay.
But in my early 30s, during my second pregnancy,
Okay.
I was feeling discomfort in my sacral area. And
Mm.
I'm like, oh, this pregnancy is different.
Mm.
And so I'm like, oh, it's just pregnancy. And so there was a lot of stress going on in my life. I was
Okay.
in a very stressful job.
Mm.
And
Mm.
to the point where it was so stressful that I shut down.
Oh, okay.
Like, I was numb to everything. So
Mhm.
before, it was really stressful, and then I would be so stressed, I would cry over nothing,
Mm.
and then it was like, "Okay, this is" my system's like, "It's too much to handle,"
Mhm.
and so it just shut down. So I was just
Uh-huh.
numb. I couldn't feel anything, and then I became someone that I was truly
Mm.
not, and
Mm.
I started to dislike myself, and, it was a really, really hard time. Yeah, I call it like the dark night of my soul. Like it was like
Mm.
really hard for
Okay.
me to deal with anything, any stress, anything. And so even my husband at the time we had our oldest daughter and we always talked about having another. And he's like, I don't know if I want another child with you.
Mm.
And I couldn't argue back with him because I disliked myself at the time. I was not who I was put on this earth for. I was not that
Mm.
person. I was this stressed out person. And so we got pregnant. And after the pregnancy, the intensity of the pain in my
Mm.
sacrum
Mm.
grew so intense that I stood for 2 years.
Oh. Oh.
And when I did sit down, I carried this blow up donut with me
Oh.
so I could sit. And even then, it was extremely painful. And it's not an exaggeration. Like the moment I sat down, it was extreme pain. And then
Mm.
getting up was even, it hurt even more. It was more intense. So I would be like, okay, how do I get off this chair? Do I slide off? Do I jump off? Do I roll off? Like what can I do? And so I went to doctors and chiropractors and, pain management doctors to see what was going on. And no one could figure out what was going on. I even went to a sports medicine doctor, got an MRI. They're like, there's a lot of inflammation going on in the hips, but there's no reason why. And that
Mm.
was it. That was
Mm.
it. I was on my
Mm.
way. I'm like,
Mm.
okay, what do I do with this?
Right.
So, and I was doing physical therapy.
Mm.
And finally, like 2 years of physical therapy, because what a chiropractor said that my sacrum was tilted, so let's try to, fix that,
Mhm.
and it wasn't working, And so finally, my physical therapist, 2 years later, she's like, there's nothing else I can do for you. I have to release you. And I was like, "W- what do I do now?"
Right. Please don't kick me out. I still need help. Please.
You know, I can't stand forever.
Right. Right.
And so she's like, okay, how about you go to another chiropractor? And she's telling me, look out for these kind of chiropractors. This is who you want. Maybe they could adjust you in a way that I could not.
Okay.
And so I did, and he took an x-ray, and he sent the x-ray off to the radiologist, and the radiologist saw inflammation on both sides of my hips. One side of the hip could be, quote unquote normal.
Right.
Um,
When it's inflammation, but hey, I digress.
yeah. But when it's on both sides of the hip, he's like, why don't you get the radiologist suggested that I get tested for ankylosing spondylitis.
Okay.
That took me a long time to be able to say that, like, ankylosing what?
You want me to go
And
where?
yeah. So I did all the testing to see, because if I had the antibodies for it, and I did.
Okay.
So the only specialists that doctors don't really know much about ankylosing spondylitis. So the closest doctor or specialist would be a rheumatologist.
Okay.
So I went to the rheumatologist, and he confirmed yes. And there's a little bit of, so okay, what ankylosing spondylitis is for anybody that does not know, is your body is like an autoimmune response that your body starts attacking the spine from the sacrum all the way up to the neck, and it could start into the ribs as well. And when the spine is being attacked, it wants to protect itself, so it starts to create bone around it. So essentially, my spine and my hips and my neck and my ribs will start fused together, and I will be locked in a position of whatever I'm in the most.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
if I keep my straight as tall as I can, it'll be locked in that position, or I could be hunched over, whatever it is.
Oh.
Won't be able to turn the neck, and then breathing will be hard to do because the ribs can't expand with the lungs, right? Very painful disease. And so his solution was to have me inject myself with a biologic. So a biologic suppresses the immune system. So they're trying to slow down the progress of the disease. This is what they do with many people with autoimmune diseases. And the thought of that terrified me. I'm like, I need
Your
my
immune system.
immune system, especially when I have little girls that are petri dishes, right? So I'm like, it doesn't make sense. I'm like, why? So I asked him, like, why is this happening? Because I'm that kind of person. If I could understand why something works, I know how to fix it. And he's like, I don't know. No one knows. So you don't know, but you want me to take this biologic. Like,
Yeah.
I'm supposed to listen to you?
Right.
And no one knows? Like, really? So,
Oh, we got to talk up so much about that. Yes.
so I was terrified of this. I'm like, for one, I have to inject myself. Really?
How often did they want you to
Every
inject
2 weeks. Every 2
Okay.
weeks.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, how is my immune system going to fight off everything else?
Exactly.
And I was just so scared that I felt like I was going to throw up. And he saw the look on my face. He's like, okay, I see how concerned you are. Here's some information. Go do your research. And then at the next appointment, let me know what your choice is.
Okay.
But before I left, I was like, is there anything that I can do? Can I change my lifestyle? Can I change the way I eat? I had no idea. I was just rambling off anything, right?
Right.
And he's like, there's nothing you can do.
Mm.
And that was like, okay.
But you want me to put this foreign substance that you don't really know. I'm just
Yes.
saying.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, challenge accepted. There's nothing I can do, right? It's like that. I had to battle with this for a long time, is that dynamic between healthcare providers and patients, right? It's like the patient is always the victim. They have no control over their health, and the doctor is the only one that could save you, right? And so I went home and did my research,
Okay.
and I feel like you know this. So like you have to ask the right questions, right? So the questions that you ask, you will get the answers to. So you got to make sure you're focusing your questions on the right, you
Yes.
know, where you want to be. So at
Yes.
first I was focusing on, okay, what is ankylosing spondylitis? What will happen? And it was just all these scare factors, manipulation to scare people. Like, this is what's going to happen if you don't do this. And then I started focusing my attention to healing. How can I heal from this, right? So I started finding more and more information on other people.
You was digging.
Oh, it was a rabbit hole for months and months.
But still, it just the fact that you were willing to go, because like even with trees, right? Which I love. Oh my God, I love being surrounded in trees.
Me too.
Ooh.
Me too.
Oh, I just got chills. Oh my God. Yes, trees. We have a special relationship.
Oh yes, me too.
We go and travel different places. I'm like, where all the big trees at? I need to go see them. That's my other family. But so we know with trees that this beautiful, what we see on the outside is just the outside, but what is really going on is beneath the ground, the roots and what happens, the networking, so for you to even dig, and this is something that I want to tell everyone, the audience. Again, this is us sharing our truth, right?
Yes.
Us sharing our stories. So I do want you all to know that Thirmanda is sharing her story, what she has done, what she is doing, and as well as I. And we are not going against, that's not what we believe in. We are not going against your medical provider. I say this for myself. I do believe that everyone, this is something I tell, no matter what, even when I was still a nurse, I tell people you are always your best advocate. I would say this, I say this, and I want you to finish your story, Thirmanda. Forgive me for cutting you off. I just want people to know, and again, when I would, talk to patients, when they would ask me, this is a story, something that stuck in my mind, and has been embedded in me since then. It was such a life lesson. I was going into a patient's room to give them their medication, and I'm not a believer in forcing anything on anybody, right? So I go into this patient's room, and she had a series of medications to take. She said, "No, I don't want to take them right now." It's like, okay, I'll come back in a half an hour. If you want to take them, then so be it. I go back in there, and she asked me. She was like, "Well, let me ask you, would you take them?" And I was just stuck. I was like, okay, now what was taught to me in the nursing program, and it's taught to a lot of people that work in healthcare, is that when a patient says that because we are not supposed to directly tell them yes or no, because liability and so forth. The answer would be to give it back to the patient, right? That, hey, I want you to do this is what I say now, to do what's best for you. But in the medical field, is if the pros outweigh the cons, then you should think about it. But everybody's pros and cons are different, right? So with that being said, I will also say, I've learned to say from the different situations I would be put in, and I would tell patients, please advocate for yourself. Like you said about questions and, to get the right answers. And I say this, just period. If that answer is not aligning with you, I don't care who you're talking to, because we all human beings first before any title. Yes. If that answer is not aligning with you, because I'm a believer in doing what's well with your soul, keep going, which is exactly what the man that's talking about. Keep going until you get an answer that aligns with what is well with your soul. So,
Yes.
yes.
I agree with you 100%. It's relearning, reteaching ourselves
Mm-hmm.
to trust ourselves, to trust
Yes.
our intuition
Oh, that's perfect, Amanda. Yes.
and our wisdom, right? This is
Yes.
what I do with my clients.
Yes.
They'll come to me for the answers. I don't have the answers for
Right.
you.
Right.
Only you're the expert of your own body.
Mm, 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 mm. That's
You have
ooh,
the answers. I'm just
yes.
here to witness it and to
Yes.
hold space for you.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
because a lot of times when you're in it, you don't see your patterns.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
So that's what I'm here to. Hey, did you hear what you just said? Like,
Mm-hmm.
do you hear the wisdom that is in within you that just came out?
Mm-hmm. And they'd be like, what?
No, I didn't realize
Uh-huh.
it. So, yeah, I 100% and 100%, yes. We're here just to educate you and give you
Yes.
information
Mm-hmm.
to take to your healthcare provider if
Mm-hmm.
you wish to do so.
Mm-hmm.
We I am not your health coach. We are not your, provider. So
Mm-hmm.
just take it with a
Yes.
grain of salt. And
Yes.
if it resonates with you,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
a lot of times it's true for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
For you.
trust yourself.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Oh.
Yes.
Oh. Yes.
Yes.
So finish telling your story, Amanda, because it's I'm just eating it all up. I'm just I'm digesting all this goodness here. Yes.
So yeah, I just was doing research and finding people who are doing it as well, like doing
Mm,
what I was doing and looking up to them and really digesting it all
mm-hmm,
and trying my own thing. I put myself on a diet. I didn't
mm-hmm,
wait for my doctor or anybody else. I'm like, I'm going to try this out for myself. I'm
mm-hmm,
curious. It's all about getting curious and just
mm,
trying something, starting somewhere
yes.
and not be afraid to fail because
Mm-hmm.
failure is not what we've been taught failure
Nope.
is.
No.
Failure is growth. It's a
Yes.
learning experience, right?
Yes.
So it's because I say I'm a recovering perfectionist.
Mm,
And so I have to keep reminding myself of that. Like failure, it's
mm,
okay if I fail
mm-hmm.
because it's just a stepping stone to
Yes.
get me to where I need to go.
Yes. Oh.
So, I figured out like, okay, it took me a couple months to get comfortable with, you know, I'm that type of person, like I want consume as much information as I can, and then I'll go take a leap of faith, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I went back to my rheumatologist and told him it's not for me.
Okay.
And of course he was concerned,
Mm.
but at the same time, he's like, I wish you well, right?
Okay. Good. Good.
And so I went off and I found I stepped away from the conventional medicine system because
Okay.
they weren't knowledgeable
Mm.
of healing with
Mm-hmm.
especially with autoimmune diseases. So
Okay.
I looked to a functional medicine doctor. So I was under the care of a functional medicine doctor. I was already on my it's like an anti-inflammatory diet
Okay.
before I saw her. And I was like, okay, I feel home here. I feel like
Mm.
they
Mm.
really hear me. They
Mm.
understand where I'm coming from. And when I voice my opinion or say, hey, I want to try this, they're on board with me.
Mm.
And they're
Mm.
not offering me any medication. Like I
Mm.
was like that patient of yours. Like when I was 18, I had my appendix removed.
Okay.
After surgery, the nurse came in to give me pain medicine. And I said, no, I don't want it. And she looked at me like, really? Like, I'm like,
Mm.
she's never heard of it before.
Mm.
And I said, no, I don't want it. I just don't like any kind of medication. Like, that's just for me personally,
Mm-hmm.
it's not for my body.
Mm-hmm.
And so, um, I was under the care of the functional medicine doctor, and I was like, you know what? I feel like this was given to me to help others.
Yes.
And I'm like, I need a place, but where do I fit in all of this? And then all of a sudden, like I saw an ad or something for the Functional Medicine Coaching Academy, and I'm like, that's it. That is it. So I went through the program and I became a health coach, and it was like I felt like I was finding my purpose because when I was first diagnosed, I I I went through all the stages, the grieving stages, right?
Okay.
I grieved my old life. I was like,
Mm.
I was like, I'm not a cripple. Because I was active. I was going to the gym. I was working out. I was doing all the things. I thought I was healthy. I thought I'm doing the air quotes. Like I thought
Mm-hmm.
I had a healthy lifestyle. I ate
Mm.
well. I didn't.
Mm.
Like they're teaching us wrong, and why is no one talking about it? I'm like, I need to talk about this. And so, hindsight, is 2020. It's like, I'm so glad that my old life fell away
Yes.
because
Yes.
God was like, no, this is not for you. You're on the wrong
Mm-mm.
path.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
time to wake you up, and this is
Mm.
how you're going to wake up. You're going to get sick.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I am grateful for those hard times, right? Because it made me the person I am today.
Yeah.
And I'm becoming better and better every single day. And
Mm.
before you hit record, I was talking about how I've come to grow and learn that my autoimmune disease is not a curse. Like I thought,
Mm-mm.
like I was being punished or something. Like, what did I do wrong? And it's like, no, what did I do right?
Mm.
And so it's like, wow, my autoimmune disease is like my best friend.
Mm.
She is a she.
Mm-hmm.
My autoimmune disease is a she.
She was like, if you're gonna come on here, come on, let's be friends. Let's get
And
to
she's
know each other.
Yeah, she's like, "I'm gonna keep you accountable,"
Ah,
because
good.
once I because I've like I've been sitting, this whole time. Like I said before, I couldn't sit. Like the moment I sat
Yeah.
down, it was extreme pain. I'm
Mm.
sitting right
Mm.
now, pain free.
Mm.
And
Mm.
so if I start to go back into my old habits, into the
Mm.
old ways, the things that I did that got me sick in the first place, my autoimmune disease is gonna show up again.
Hey girl, excuse me. We need to have a talk. Come on and sit down. Let's have some tea or something because we need to discuss some things.
She sounds exactly like that, by the way.
That's what I call my premenopause because it's so I don't even like to say funny, and that's fine to say that, but it's so aligning because I recently had a conversation with someone and I called premenopause because that's exactly what's going on with me. I am a premenopausal woman. And I told her, come on here. And she was knocking on the door. And I didn't want her to be banging on the door. I was like, come on, Lynn. Let's get to know each other.
Yes, it's creating this beautiful relationship
Yes,
with your body, with
yes,
yourself,
yes,
right?
yes.
Like I feel like we've been conditioned to
Mm,
ignore
yes.
and fight
Mm-hmm.
against our bodies,
Yes.
who we are,
Mm-hmm.
and reality.
Yes. Yes.
And that's where stress comes in, and that's where
Mm-hmm.
disease comes in.
Mm-hmm.
We're always in that fight or flight,
Mm-hmm.
so there's no room for healing.
Mm. Mm-mm. It ain't even down the streets. It's like, across the Atlantic Ocean or something somewhere. It's like, we gotta go and search like the old explorers used to do, go looking for it because it's so foreign to us. It's like it's not
Mm,
living in this, every day to day. When again, like premenopause and so I say this back when I was, again, when I was still working as a nurse, one of my jobs, because I had many a jobs of nursing, and but more and more of that, I found that it was me just not only leaving these jobs, but leaving this sense of what I call normalcy,
mm,
and just finding and going on that road, which is still my journey to leaving it completely. So one of the jobs I had was working at a clinic, OBGYN clinic. And again, like I said before, nurses as well as doctors, but I know from what my own teacher, because I never went to school to be a doctor, we were taught, to be careful with what we say because of the liability,
Yes.
so and things have changed a lot. Things have changed a lot when it comes to obstetrics and gynecology. I remember when I was pregnant with my children, there was a time where they will not even say to a pregnant mother to take a Tylenol. Now, like I said, and things have changed a lot. Things have changed a lot where it's it's sad where they not only and I'm like, again, this is not nothing against doctors or whatever, because I feel that doctors are just doing what doctors are doing. They're following a script, and I don't mean like a script, but they're following their role of what they're being were told to do, as well as I was. Hello.
Yeah.
So yeah, so things have changed a lot where pregnant mothers are getting very hard medications, whether it be Norco for pain, and even for a non-pregnant person to take that type of medication. I know, as well as you, Thirmanda, I take no medications, no prescriptions. I would may do some supplements here and there, but that's it. I've learned that my body is sensitive on purpose. Same thing with you. If I I have eliminated a lot of things from my lifestyle as well. So even if I, like what recently, a week ago, I had a glass of wine. And because I'm a premenopausal woman, the hormones is like, they doing this dance and, and so forth. So within that frame, they was like, no, we don't like this alcohol. And then it shows up, right? It shows up on my skin. But that's a good thing, because it's letting me know there's like inflammation is going on. I'm like, okay, I hear you, girl. All right, okay, I'm gonna cut it off, cut it down, or whatever. And again, with OB, when I was working at OBGYN, and patients would come in that was premenopausal or menopausal, and God bless them, they would say, oh, this sucks and all this. I was like, well, it's some things that we can control, that some things we can't, right? And it's different times for women. Some women start premenopausing or menopausing 30s, 40s, just different times. I was like, but if you allow this to happen and, sit in it and allow it to teach you of what is going on in this stage of life and how to be better in the next stage of life, it won't be so hard. It's just like you said, we've been taught a lot of narratives of how to deal with our life. Now, it might work for Jane Doe, for John Doe, but that don't mean that has to work for you. And like you said before, even with your clients, teaching them about themselves, which I strongly believe in. And even, being absent from nursing, when I just talk to people about them being advocate for themselves, for their lives, period. I don't care whether it's medications, a job, because it's all, our lifestyle is incorporating everything. So if we're not taking time to ask those questions, I like that. I tell them, I was like, call it out into the air, to the universe, to the divine source. Like, what's going on with me? What do I do? And it would, I'm here to tell you, it will answer you. But we must be willing. We must be willing to be open to these answers. For myself, I have learned that, different things, what I could do in the 20s, 30s, 40s, I can't do being on down here 5 decades. It's like, no, girl, we ain't doing that no more. I'm like, you sure? They're like, you can't do that no more. I'm like, okay. So, even with jobs, and this is why I want to ask you about your job, the job that you had left. I had learned for myself, not only nursing, which God bless all nurses out there. God bless anybody that's working in healthcare, because I know you all deal with a lot. But it became very toxic for me, and toxic where I know you talked about standing, because it's horrific pain that you was, going through, it was going through your body, but I was working in places where I would stand up for 6 hours, not eating, holding my urine, holding just all this stuff that's meant to come out of your body. You're not, if you gotta pee, you gotta do something else. You're supposed to go to the bathroom. But I was like, no, I gotta go do this and I gotta go do this because of money and because this is what everybody else is doing. So let me do it too. It's like, no, so all these things is being held up in me, because that's why it is supposed to be released, right? Whether it be, an excrements or whatever, but being released from our mind. You said something, but not by accident earlier. You said, hold on. You said, what did you say? You said holding on to something, but you first said thought, and then you said something else, but you
grain of salt.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. You said grain of thought. And I'm like, oh, that's good. That's true. We holding on to these thoughts, these patterns, and they just constantly being embedded in us. And they become what we call normal, but don't mean it's right for us, y'all. That don't make it right.
Yeah. Just because it's normal, like one of the doctors that I follow from the wellness way, like just because it's normal or just because it's common doesn't mean it's normal.
Yes.
That's what they say. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yes.
Again, like with, learning myself, so I've learned for me, like you said, which is so beautiful, and I feel the same way. Again, allowing these different things that come in, whether we call it ailments or disease, allow it to come in and teach you something. And with, whether it be the jobs and so forth, I've left many of them again because it's like me going up a staircase where I left it to get to this, to learn, what I needed to learn from here, and then go up, to the next level. And I feel like when to me, it's very difficult to call a lot of things bad, because I believe that what we calling or seeming is bad is working out when not good.
Yes.
So even with a wound, right? When I would dress wounds, or clean wounds and take the dressing off, it might not look how we want it to look, but that's part of the process of healing. All that, the stuff, the red blood cells, white blood cells, and all these little different things is going on, but it's part of the healing. But in order for us to even allow the process to happen, because like Thirmanda said, it's an ongoing project, right? But it's a good project if you choose to see it that way.
Yes.
You're going to be in that life lesson until you leave here, if you so choose this mission. And it's like, if we keep saying that this is bad, then that's exactly what we embedding into us. And we ain't going to see no good in it.
Yep. Tons of wisdom right there.
So I want to ask you, Thirmanda, about the job. Oh, yes. Okay. I want to bring up the job. Now, were you working in healthcare? Because it's amazing.
No.
Okay.
No. Okay. I had no desire for healthcare. I never even saw myself, even as a kid. I was always a businesswoman. I was going to be a businesswoman, right? Not health, because I guess maybe because I was in and out of the hospital as a child.
Okay.
It wasn't a good environment. A lot of what is the word? It's trauma, but it's like medical trauma, right? I experienced a lot of medical trauma.
Okay.
So it wasn't the field that I was looking for, but I didn't realize, open up. Wow. There's more than what you just see, right? There's room for, you somewhere else. And so the job, I was actually operations manager. I had like a lot of titles. I wore a lot of hats. So I was operations manager. I was the project manager. I was a graphic production artist and a plate maker. So I had a lot going on.
Inflammation, it seems like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So that was like the last straw in my body. Like, I was always growing up, always high stress, high strung, loosen up. Why are you so uptight? And now I've through this experience, I'm learning more about myself and realizing it's just a trauma response. I was just trying to protect myself. And I couldn't let go because, okay, so growing up, so we're going to get into spirituality a little bit here.
Yes, I'm open for that.
Growing up, I was raised, well, my dad is a Christian. My mom is, I wouldn't say she's an atheist. She
Okay.
just is confused.
Okay.
So because even atheist is a religion, right? My mom doesn't practice anything.
That's
She
true. I'm
believes,
glad you brought that up.
yes. So she believes that when you die, that's it. It's just over.
Okay.
And being raised by a single mother saying you're an independent woman, you don't need anybody, you don't need a man to take care of you, you can do it yourself, right? Which, yes, I understand that. I loved it. I thrived on, I don't need anybody. I could do this all myself, right? But also thinking that I'm the only one on this earth that could protect me. Not even my mother and my father could protect me because they've shown me over and over again that they have their own traumas that they're dealing with and could not protect me when I needed them the most.
Right.
And plus my mom would also tell me there's no one else that could help you but yourself. Like she would say that over and over again. So that's a lot to bear on a child, on an adult, on anybody, right? And always like not trusting people and especially men. Do not trust men. They only want one thing. That is it. They're going to hurt you, whatever. And so I had all these issues, these trust issues, control issues, and it was all and no spiritual, like no guidance. Like I'm working here and fighting for myself here. I'm fending for myself. So that got me into that sympathetic nervous system, that fight or flight. I was living in it my whole life.
Oh, wow.
My whole life. And no wonder I was uptight because I was always waiting for the ball to drop. But then as I became a teenager, I started to realize, wow, that bad thing happened for a reason because this happened. Right? So then I started to see, not always, but a lot of times I was able to see, okay, this sucks right now. And I don't know why, but I know I'll find out soon enough why this is happening to me. And I'm going to see the benefit from it. And so during my journey, my health journey, it has brought me back to my spiritual side, to a spiritual connection. I cannot deny. I don't care what religion you are, like that, it has nothing to do with religion and everything to do with spirituality. And your connection to source. I say source, I say God, I say the universe, I say it all because I don't know.
Right.
I just know that I feel something.
Nobody. Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I just feel something. And I know I have been guided my whole life, even though I didn't realize it. Looking back at it, I was. And you mentioned something about the question. Just ask the question. It'll come, the answer will come to you, right? And that's what I teach my clients but you got to ask the right questions, right? Like when you're in the muck of it and it's like, this sucks and this is painful. Instead of like saying like, why is this happening to me? You can say, what is here for me that I'm not seeing?
Yes. Oh, yes.
What am I here to receive?
Yeah.
And I always tell my clients, do not let your ego answer that question. Your ego only knows what it knows, right? And it's going to scare you into staying stuck.
Yeah.
So you need to expand it and they're like, well, what's the difference between the ego and like, how do I know the difference between the ego, my intuition, or, the divine guiding me? I'm like, you'll know the difference. The ego will always keep you in fear because it wants to keep you safe for some, that's how it knows how to keep you safe. It doesn't like the unknown. But when you have like this inspired, yes, and it feels like it's a yes, like, and it's like, that makes so much sense and it resonates with you, that's not your ego.
Nope, that's true.
So the reason why I'm talking about the spirituality is the lack of also helped me get me sick because it
Mm,
kept me in that fight or flight where my body could not relax and receive healing from the
mm,
divine.
mm, mm.
And so it had brought me, like I said, God is like, no, Thurmanda, you're on the wrong path.
You
Boom, you're
like, no,
sick.
I get it. I'm the superwoman. No.
No, you don't got it. Like there's some
Sit
things
down.
that is yes, there's some things for you for that you do need to do,
Yes.
but that's not it. That's for
Mm-hmm.
me to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so it brought me closer to my purpose,
Yeah.
to what is why we're down here on earth in the first place, and to the connection. Like we're here to do work, like spiritual work.
Yes.
We're here to grow.
Yes.
And I've heard, like, I'm very open with
Mm-hmm.
spirituality, and so I hear things like people who have died and come back, and they're
Mm-hmm.
saying there are different worlds out there, and earth is the place, like if you really want to grow,
Mm.
earth is the place to go because it's so primitive
Uh-huh.
that it's like a fast track to spiritual growth. And like, boy, do I agree with that because it is hard down here.
They be like, hey, you be like, oh, you want, yeah, we're gonna send you to a university, all right. We're gonna send you to Earth. You gonna, yeah, it's a whole bunch you can learn down there. I feel the same way. I'm like, ooh, I'm like, you teaching me something. It's something in this, yes.
Yeah. There's this I don't know if you ever heard of foot zoning, but this
Mm-hmm.
lady that does my foot zoning, she is so connected and so intuitive. And she was talking about, like, before she came to earth, like talking to God, like, God, please don't make me go down there. Please don't make me go down there. And I was like, you know what? I bet you I was that spirit, like, all right, God, let's go. I'm ready. I'm diving right in. Like, like, because I'm up for a challenge. I love
Uh-huh.
challenges. But yeah, so uh, it's important for your healing
Mm-hmm.
to have that connection with a
Yes,
higher power
yes.
because that's where you receive your healing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we have closed ourselves off
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to that healing, and we're
Mm-hmm.
sick. We're
Mm-hmm.
stressed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's about unlearning all the things that was taught to us and learn to just relax and feel what you're feeling. Like you spoke about, like, drinking wine and your
Mm-hmm.
skin broke out. That is communication with your
Mm-hmm.
body, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
that's what I teach my clients is pain and anything that shows up in your body. That's the way that your body communicates with you.
Yes.
It's not punishing you. Don't get
Mm-mm.
frustrated with it. Don't ignore it. It's like, okay, I see you. I see you, body. All right, I won't do this anymore. Or sending it love and compassion. Like I
Yes.
teach my clients, our body is like a child. Treat it like a
Mm-hmm.
child. So that if the child is hurting and in pain, if you ignore the child, they're not going to thrive
Mm-mm.
and they're going to be crying and they're still
Yes.
going to be sad and hurting. But if you go to that child and you wrap your arms around them and say, I'm here and I love you and I'm so sorry that you're feeling this way, they're gonna get up and just go running and go about the day, right? Like nothing ever happened. They're so resilient.
Uh-huh.
We have to do the same for ourselves.
Yes.
We have to show ourselves the same love and compassion.
Yes.
And I even do a practice if that's okay. Can I share
No, no,
this?
no, no, please,
Okay.
please.
I do a practice when it comes to pain.
Mm.
It's best to do practice when it's like a small pain, right? Like if it's like truly like really painful, it's hard to do it because the pain is so loud.
Mm-hmm.
But when you start off, it's nice to do it on little, like maybe you have a cut on your hand, so it hurts and it gets your attention, but it's not
Mm-hmm.
screaming at you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then, or if it's a pain that starts to intensify, as it goes on, get it right at the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So for instance, if I would have like my sacral pain,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes if my hips are not stretched out, in a certain, like if I don't stretch my body and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
there's certain positions that I can start to feel the sacral pain coming,
Okay.
but it's
Okay.
nothing like how it was in the
Mm-hmm.
past. And it's just a reminder, oh, I forgot to make sure that my body is flexible, right?
Yes, yes.
And so what I do is I'll stop and I'll close my eyes and I'll find where that pain is in my body.
Mm.
And then I'll look at it. I'll really feel that pain because I find that the resistance to pain, to anything, hurts more than the actual activity or pain or whatever it is.
Yep.
So it's about stop resisting what is and embracing it.
Mm-hmm.
So you feel it and try to look at it. See if you does it have a color? What would it look like? If you don't see anything, just imagine what you would see. And I will send my body love, like, I'm so sorry that you're hurting right now. Of course you're hurting. I'm here for you. Just whatever you need. And when really feel that pain and I breathe into it. So I breathe as if I'm breathing in and out of that
Mm.
location where it's hurting.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I kid you not, that pain goes away.
Mm.
So I do it with my daughters, like if they have a upset stomach, or um, last month I did it with my husband because I was doing it with my client. She had pain in her neck and she was getting migraines. So I
Mm-hmm.
did that with her, and like the pain went away. She's like, I wish I
Oh,
could do this for myself. I'm like, you can do this for
yes.
yourself.
You're that powerful. Yes.
You're that
Oh.
powerful. Yes, exactly. I'm like, just do the same that I'm doing, but you make it your own because you
Mm-hmm.
know yourself better than I do.
Yes. Oh, see, I'm glad you're teaching them that. Oh.
Yes, because it's important because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we've been conditioned to be victims so that we
Mm-hmm.
depend on somebody else
Mm-hmm.
so they can
Mm-hmm.
control us, right? That's a different
Mm-hmm.
story. But I mean, that's
Mm-hmm. No, but
another.
you're correct. No, it's all part of the story. Oh no.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm teaching them, no, 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 no. You take your power back. I can't give you your power. No one can give you your power. It's
Nope.
already in you.
Yes.
You
Yes.
just got to utilize it and
Yes.
trust.
It's
S-
stuck in there.
Yes.
Like,
So
please.
my husband, he was on a 3-day fast.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you fast, you're detoxing.
Mm-hmm.
So your joints are going to hurt. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to feel, you could get like flu like symptoms. And he was really hungry. So
Mm-hmm.
I was telling him the story that I was doing with my client. He's like, all right, do it with me. And I started laughing because I thought he was making fun of me because he's
Mm-hmm.
not as intuitive as I
Mm-hmm.
am.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, you're the professional here. Why are you laughing? I'm like, oh, you're serious. Okay. So I had him lay down. He lay down on the couch and I was like, okay, close your eyes. Tell me what part of your body, what is calling to you the most? And it wasn't the joint pain, it was the hunger. I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's speak to that. And so I did the, did it all with him. And then he like reaches for my hand. He's like, hold on, wait, let me hold your hand. And I started
Oh.
laughing. I thought he was making fun of me. And he was for real. And I was like,
Oh.
oh, okay, sweetie. Like, like
Oh,
I was
that's
like,
so.
and that goes to show that when you focus on yourself,
Mm-hmm.
your healing, your growth, and try to become the best person for yourself,
Mm.
you become the best person for everyone around you. You're modeling for them.
Yes.
And energetically, you're shifting their energy with you, right? So they're healing with you. So I could see in my family, because of what
Mm.
I'm doing for myself, like I'm not trying to, a little bubble
Oh,
up there.
look at
I have like hand gestures now. But
it.
um instead of focusing on other people, you should do this and you should do that. Focus on yourself,
Oh gosh.
model for other people, and they'll shift with you or
Mm-hmm.
they'll fall away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if they fall
Woo.
away, bye-bye. Like
God
you weren't
bless.
for yes. I hope you find yourself. I hope you find your journey, but you're
Mm-hmm.
not for me. And
Yes.
so it's a gift when people fall away. Like, no,
Mm-hmm.
don't hang on to that. Don't, to anybody or anything. You have to be open and not be attached to the outcome.
Yes. Yes.
And especially when you're doing this exercise with your body, you have to do it to have the intention of honoring and loving yourself,
Yes.
not the intention of, I want this pain to go away.
Right.
Because that doesn't feel good and your body feels that. Your
Mm-hmm.
body feels that pressure, and then now you're closing yourself off and it's not gonna work.
And you're like, why it won't go away? Well, because you're resisting it and you're not talking in love with it either. So it's like, I'm still here until you change.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to bring up what you said about energy. This is
Okay.
so same thing with me when I decided years ago to seek functional medicine
Okay.
doctors, those who study herbs, and that
Mhm.
help incite my learning of herbs, and those that work for me, and my acupuncture doctor, which I still to this day love her. She is, when I tell you, when this woman came into my life, just by the way of releasing I had tendonitis from a injury when I was working at this hospital, but that wasn't even meant to happen to bring her into my life. She taught me so much. I remember one time when I was talking to her, what she felt about Reiki, right? And she's like, Reiki is the same as everything else. It's about energy. She was
Mhm.
like, but if you are of good energy, you automatically pass that on to others. And when she
Mhm.
said this is before I even went on my, well, though it's always been a journey, but really diving deep into my self healing. So this is like I met her like maybe 14 years ago. And when she said that back then, I didn't understand it, but I received the message, years later, and I understand it now. And that made me too be more cognizant of where I'm at. And, because I'm like, okay, if I'm not being well with myself,
Mhm.
then I'm showing up, and that's what I am presenting and giving to others. When we talk about being present, I feel that we're all presence or gift, right? Each time we are around each other, you can either be the chaos or you could be
Mhm.
peace for someone.
Mhm.
Of course, we can't make somebody be peace, but just what you're giving off, you ever be around somebody, it's just like they don't have to say nothing, and it just be like, oh gosh, it's something about you, or you going to a person's home or a place, and this is something we would do with the grandkids when they would come over. And that's one of my mantras now, find your peace. So it's like a certain time of night, I'm like, okay, it's 8 o'clock. Everybody find your peace. Whatever you got to do to help quiet your mind. Let's get into that to that area of yourself. And
Mhm.
that's why I tell other people me, again, I love being in trees, I love being in nature, which
Yes.
I encourage, everywhere, if you can, to be outside as much as
Oh,
possible. We
yes.
are meant to be outside, you all. We're meant,
Yes.
not nature is a healing, and
Yes.
it's a reminder of, like, Thurmanda said earlier, of coming back to self, because nature has always been here, right? The trees was here before us. So it's like, it's a reminder of what's important. And then they give off energy as well. The
Yes.
reason why we're able to breathe oxygen is from our family members, the trees.
Yeah.
So that's why every time, I'm in different places, like especially the older trees, the bigger trees, I love all, but the
Mhm.
bigger they are, I just be like, oh, I know you got so many stories to tell. It's like I could feel so much, from certain trees. And it's when we I know for me, when I am in nature and I'm immersed in nature, sometimes I just sit. So where we're at, we there's a lot of hiking trails. So I like to, go in certain points and just sit there and just take everything in, allow my body to detox thoughts and so forth. And allow myself to be, all these, the energy of the trees, the water, the birds, and everything. And I feel so much love, Thirmanda. So much love from nature. And that's what you were saying about bringing love to these certain things that's happening within the body, because it's showing that we have been absent of it. We get so much in the mode of, especially in the US, that, oh, I gotta do this. And I tell it to people all
Yes.
the time, oh, I gotta go do this. I said, well, we don't gotta do nothing. We just
Yeah.
choosing to do these things. Are
Yes.
you asking, are you sitting down and having a conversation with yourself and saying, am I supposed to be doing this? No, Nikki, you're not. But I want to. I know you want to. But it ain't really good for you. Like,
I
you
know.
sure? Like, okay, go ahead and do it. And then you come back with like, okay, you were right. I wasn't supposed to do that over there, but
I know, because we've been conditioned like we should be doing this, right?
Mhm.
We should be achieving something,
Yes.
but we should be doing something. But sitting down in nature is doing something.
Yes.
But I call it shooting on ourselves. Stop shooting on
Mm.
ourselves. Am I
Ooh.
shooting on myself? Or am I doing this because it's going to bring me joy?
Yes.
Or am I hungry because I'm not doing something that's bringing me joy?
Mm.
Or am I truly hungry?
Mhm. Mhm.
And so, believe me, I am not perfect at that because I shoot on myself all the time. But the awareness is the medicine. Being
Yes.
aware of your
Yes.
patterns, of your thoughts. Oh, I'm not doing that. Am I?
Mhm.
I'm not outside like how I love being out. I'm just like you. Um, I started grounding outside
Mm.
and when I wake up and sun gazing, and that totally changed my circadian rhythm,
Mm.
my energy. I used to have to take a nap in the middle of the day just to make it through the day.
Oh.
And my hormones showed it because my doctor, my functional medicine doctor, she's like, do you take a nap around like 1 o'clock? I'm like, yeah, how do you know? Like, are you watching me? Like, what's going on here? And she's like, because my cortisol drops during that
Mm.
time.
Mm.
And I'm like, okay, good. It's not me. I'm not being lazy, right?
Mhm.
Like we're so mean to ourselves.
Mhm.
And I find my daughters being mean to herself. Oh, I'm so dumb.
Mhm.
I'm so stupid. Like if they can't get a problem like in school, I'm like, you are learning. If you already knew this, you wouldn't be learning this.
Mm-mm.
Stop
Mm-mm.
being mean to yourself.
Yes.
And so we got to do the same thing for ourselves. Stop being mean. And so getting out in nature, that helped my energy. That helped me get
Mm.
to bed at a healthy time and wake up at a healthy time and naturally wake up, not like dragging myself out of bed like
Right.
so tired. And but here in the Midwest, in the wintertime, it's freezing. I'm not grounding. Some
Right.
people do. There's this lady I know, she doesn't wear shoes at all. I mean,
Mhm.
she's in the wintertime walking barefoot on asphalt or
Mm.
snow. And I'm like, you're making me cold. I can't watch you do this. But that's not me.
Mhm.
But your son told me, he's like, why don't you could ground with trees, right? And he's like, just in the wintertime, just put your hands on the trees. So I love going for nature walks. I went yesterday with my friend, and we call it let's go tree hugging.
Yes, I'm a tree hugger. That's me. I need a T-shirt that says tree
I
hugger.
knew I knew she was my person. I met her at church. She for the first time in the bathroom, she came out of the stall and I startled her. The
Uh-huh.
way that how animated she was, I'm like, she's my person. She's my person. And then we started talking about trees. I'm like, okay, now we go to the forest preserve and we go for, hikes.
Oh.
So I have a buddy now. But so I'll go and I'll touch the tree in the wintertime and I'll sun gaze if the sun is out, right? And then whenever, in the past, especially if I'm driving or it's like it's too bright. Oh, the sun's too
Mm.
bright. It hurts my eyes. Now I'm like, hello, sunshine. Like,
Yeah.
let me show gratitude and greet you and love you. And it's a different experience. It doesn't
Yes.
hurt anymore. I
Yes.
barely wear sunglasses
Me too.
because it's blocking the rays of the sun and it's
Mm-hmm.
interfering with my circadian rhythm. It's
Mm-hmm.
interfering with all the chemicals in my body.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't wear sunglasses unless it's absolutely necessary, like if I'm driving and usually I
Right.
don't even need it. But if the sun is at the right place and I can't see, then I'll put them on.
Mm-hmm.
But seriously, I hardly ever wear sunglasses anymore because we need that sun to be absorbed through our eyes, through our skin. We
Yes.
need it all.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm there with you with nature. Nature is definitely part of the plan.
You talk about the sun. So what was taught, you talk about we have been talking about what has been taught to us, these different doctrines, what we have taken on to be normal, but
Yeah.
not been, finding out it's not right.
Yeah.
I know for me, growing up, it was told that no, you gotta, like you said with the sun, no, you gotta stay out of the sun because it's
Mm,
turn you dark and all this other stuff. But we're like you said, we're meant, all of us is, less,
yeah.
you're part of that rare population that have a sensitivity to sun. But other than that, we're supposed to be
Yeah.
exposed to the sun. So, in the height of the summer, especially when we was in Florida, I would be outside and people like, oh, it's too hot. I'm like, nah, it's not too hot to me. I'll just be out there, And the same thing with the sunglasses. And I'm glad you brought that up. And I know that, we've been taught, yeah, put the suns on to protect, the glasses on to protect you from the sun. But unless I'm, sometimes I do videos outside but other than that, I'm allowing the sun to,
Mm,
come into my eyes. And like you said, to help me with my rhythm, same thing, in your home or your houses, we turn the light on in the morning. That's not only so we can see what's going on, but so your body can know what's going on. You turn the
yeah.
lights off, that's all part of our rhythm. That's why again with in the nursing, I always shied away from working overnights. And I didn't care how much money that they was offering. I'm like, nope. That's one thing I knew. I was like, nope. I said,
Mm,
that's not gonna be safe for me. I know it's not gonna be safe for them patients because I'm gonna be,
yeah.
no matter if I'm whatever I'm drinking, coffee or whatever, I am not gonna be able to stay up. And I remember when years ago when I worked at the post office and I worked overnights, and that's how I knew. I was like, nope,
Mm,
Nikki, you got to stay away from this. I
yeah.
remember driving home, and I would get off like 7 o'clock in the morning, and I fell asleep at it was a train going, so I was like, okay, let me just sit, and I didn't put the car in park, and like that, I went to sleep. I woke up to these horns, people honking them horn, and I was like, this is very unsafe. Why are you
Yeah.
doing this? And it's like that's a lot of things that we are doing, like you brought up about accepting, which is true, accepting these different pains or these things that's going on, because it's like the car, the people honking the horns like,
Yeah.
and no, you're not supposed to be asleep, you need
Mm,
to find a day shift or do something different.
yeah.
I want to bring up something else that a lot of people may not know of. When you talked about resisting, right?
Yeah.
So a cough, right? Cough is not a bad thing. Often, if someone is coughing because the body is trying to clear, the passages is, your throat and your lungs, something like that, right? Now, when a person takes cough medicine,
Yeah.
it suppresses, like you
Yes.
said about that pain, it suppresses that cough,
Yeah.
and it's keeping whatever that's in you stuck.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
so we're meant to cough. You're meant to, expel these fluids. And people
Yes.
like, oh, like you would see on the cough medicine, it would say, some of them say something about expectorant, stuff to keep you from, spitting, right?
Yeah.
Or bringing up fluid. But you're meant to bring that up too. The foreign substances, like I said earlier about the womb, you have to allow that stuff. You're like, oh, I don't want to see that. I don't want to do it. It's natural. Your body
Mhm.
is helping you. That's actually a good thing if you're able to cough and spit things up. But
Yes.
the more we push it away and hide it and put it in the closet, when it comes to
Mm.
situations in our life and stuff, it's not going nowhere.
Yeah, it's living with you. It's
It's getting
living with you.
it's getting bigger. It's like, hey, hello, we're still here. It's like, no, I'm not gonna pay attention to that. Again with the pain. No, I hear a lot of people talk about traumas and triggers,
Yeah.
and and I know that everybody, has been through something.
Yeah.
However, it's like if we want it to be better and get in a process of healing, we have to talk about it. We have to
Mhm.
bring it to the forefront, which is
Yes.
why, I love when people come on and share their stories, because it's like, hey, this is what was happening to me, or still may be happening to me, but this is how I am allowing it to get better. And it doesn't bother you, or it could be possibly that it does not bother you as it did before.
Mhm.
Same with you healing yourself from the autoimmune disease, and you share, which I'm glad that you did that. Sometimes things may come up and you're like, oh, okay, yes, you let me know that I've been sitting too long. Similar with me when I was diagnosed years ago, fibromyalgia and fibroids, right? And I was told with the fibromyalgia, take a prescription medication. I chose not to take it.
Mhm.
There were different doctors that told me to get a hysterectomy, and I refused. It had got so bad with one of and God bless, this is nothing against this person because it was really a teaching to me. It had
Mhm.
nothing to do with them, but everything to do with me.
Mhm.
And the schedule, this surgery was scheduled and everything, right, to have this. But then they do the the pre-surgery, you got to do labs, and they call you in and ask you these questions. And she was like, yeah, so you're scheduled for this such and such days. I was like, no, I'm not. She's like, but I have you on for such day, such. I said, no, I've chosen not to take it. And I was
Mm.
like, hello? I was like, did she hang on, get ready to hang on? She's like, no. She was like, but you need this. And I'm like,
You need this, yeah.
no, well, I chose not to do it. And from then on, opened up and I didn't know what I was gonna do, but something just
Yeah.
it was stirring in me, Thirmanda. I mean,
Mm.
when I scheduled that surgery for that next, I want to say few weeks or not more after that, I would not sleep. It would not rest in me. But when I
Mm.
told her or told it the surgery no, I was
Uh,
able to sleep again. And again, it opened up the journey. Like I said, we be hiding stuff or whatever. And I was like, oh, thank you, Nikki, for letting me out. Okay. Yeah. So let me tell you or teach you how you can heal these fibroids. And I am happy to say from that time, which is like maybe like 6, 7 years ago, they have shrunken tremendously. Now, however, it whether they come again, they are not at the mass or the size
mhm.
that they were before. It had gotten
Mhm.
so bad, I could not lay on my stomach. I felt like I was 5 months pregnant.
Wow.
And all the because like you said with autoimmune, and a lot of it is from stress on our bodies and inflammation, a lot, because it's trying to protect itself, right?
Yeah.
So you have just like a woman that's on her cycle, you have swelling and all. It was I was swole all the time because of this big mass, and now it has taught me so much about myself,
Yeah.
about keeping my hormones balanced and doing what's well with me. So whether it be a glass of wine and they be like, nope, that's gonna make your
Yeah.
insulin and the nope, too, no. I'm like, okay, you're right. So I'm gonna just drink more water, eat more fruit, and I have changed how I eat You know,
Yeah.
because I hear a lot of people say, because everything is a diet. We can eat pizza every day, it's a diet. But I
Yeah.
have changed so much of how I live.
The
You know,
lifestyle.
yes, that the fibroids have eliminated their self. But then I'm like, thank you for teaching me, you know, how to better take care of me. Like you said, love me. Because how we
Yeah.
take care of our bodies is how we truly how we self-love.
Yeah.
So I'm here for the journey. I'm open to it.
It's like I just see a bunch of beauty, the beauty of like how powerful you are, the beauty of how the body can heal itself for
Mhm.
divine help. You're
Yes,
opening up and letting divine help your body heal.
yes.
And it's also like coming into yourself and realizing you don't have to reach outside yourself.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
You don't, oh, you need this. Oh, I
Mm-mm.
do? Oh, you must know more than I do.
Right.
Okay.
Of me.
Yeah, right. Like, because we've given our power away. Like, oh, well, they're the experts.
Mm-hmm.
So I must be wrong. Like, we're doubting ourselves, which was
Yep.
taught up to us as a kid, right? Because as a kid, we have so much knowledge and intuition,
Mm-hmm.
and connection to the spiritual world
Yes.
that we start to close it off as we get older because
Yep.
other people are telling us that, oh, like we could feel like, okay, like say your mom's sad. Oh, mom, why you sad? Oh, I'm not sad. I'm not sad. So you start to doubt yourself.
Mm.
Like
Mm.
I thought she was sad, but I guess not because she says she's
Wow.
not sad.
Wow.
Like stuff like that, just little things like that make us turn off
Mm.
like our power. And then we
Mm.
start seeking outside of ourselves. So like
Yes.
this journey, like you said, I love how you said that. And because this is how exactly how I say it. It's a coming back to yourself.
Yes. Ooh. Yes, it is.
That's
Yes.
all it is. And
Yes.
I love how you said, this I don't have any ill will against this person because this person came to me to show me something,
Yes.
right? And so it's showing gratitude for everything, even if we think it's not even though it's not what we want, right?
Mm-hmm.
If
Mm-hmm.
that's the attachment to the outcome, you gotta let it go
Yes.
because what we want is only what we know. But
Mm-hmm.
there's so much more out
Yes.
there
Yes.
that we don't even know that we're not even like we have blinders on to seeing it because we're so focused on this one attachment to the outcome.
Yes.
So it's like when things start to unravel in my life now, it's like, okay, whew, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for bringing this to me because something on the other side of this is going to be beauty. It's going to be so much bigger
Yes.
than I could ever imagine.
Yes. Oh, you get it. Oh. Oh,
So
I love this.
it's like stop resisting. What resists persists, right?
Oh, that's
Nothing
good.
ever leaves you until you learn the lesson you're meant to learn.
Mm-hmm.
So when
Mm-hmm.
something's like, I thought I was over this, but now it's back. What did I do wrong? No, you didn't do anything wrong. This is a learning experience. Oh,
Yes.
thank you for showing up. I thought I was over this, but there's something within me that was still living there that I didn't see. So
Yes.
now it's my opportunity to allow it to release.
Yes. Oh.
So like when you're talking about your fibroids, how they shrunk. Ah, how beautiful your body is. And also I spoke about my autoimmune disease being my accountability partner. Well,
Mm-hmm.
if I start to feel discomfort again, it's a lot of times we feel fear, like, uh-oh,
Mm-hmm.
not again. I don't want to go through this again. What am I doing wrong? I thought this was good. I thought this was a path. Maybe I shouldn't have listened to myself.
Yeah, that's
And and then it's like, no, 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 no. It's none of that.
that ego.
Yes, it's the ego. See, I told you this wasn't gonna work. And so it's about like, oh, hi. What else am I meant to learn?
Yes.
What is you're speaking to me in your language.
Mm-hmm.
So what is it that I need to reassess
Yes.
and redirect?
Yes.
Or not redirect at all because that's control, right? What do
Mm-hmm.
I need to allow in
Mm.
to make this easy? How can I make this easy? right? Because we can make things so hard.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so true for myself. Like, I can make things so much harder than what it has to be. All right, how can I make this easy?
Yeah.
And then just leave it like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just leave it like that, because then you'll be guided. Because then God knows, like, okay, let me show her.
She's open.
Hurry
She's willing to learn.
up, before she closes
Right.
up.
Yes, yes, yes. Let's get in that door. Hurry up, please. We already know how she is. Like, come on. Yeah, I've had that like even with what I said about that patient that has stayed in my mind
Mm,
about the medicine, and
yeah.
I'm like, for myself, again, me choosing to leave nursing, I'm like, I'm doing something that I would not do myself,
Mm,
would not give myself, and I'm giving it to somebody else. Am I
yeah.
really presenting myself or being a gift? And I don't want to just do this position because of money. I don't want to just be here because that's not really me being or giving the best part of myself. Because the best part of myself is saying, no, I will not take this. I don't believe in this because I didn't anymore. But I'm giving it to somebody else. And it's like, this is what came to me one time, Thirmanda. Sometime after that, when I was working in detox for a while. And that woman came into my mind again, that patient or that teacher, because that's exactly what she was. She came into my mind, and I was giving a certain medication to a person. And when I looked at this patient, Amanda, I saw myself.
Mm,
And after that, I was like, stung. My heart was stung. I came home and I cried, and I was like, I can't do this. I can't, you know, for me, because that's where my level of understanding was. That's where my level of awareness came. It's like I didn't want to take part of this no more. So because like I said, this healing journey, more the steps that I took, this higher elevation, and I'm looking down back at myself, and it's like, okay, just because that's what you were doing before, Nick, you don't
yeah.
mean that you have to continue to do.
Mm,
And yeah, so I was like, let me really open, because I know even with that, God was teaching me, divine source was teaching me, um again, even with the nursing, of how I needed to nurse myself. I was so
mm,
busy, oh, I gotta go, hurry up and get to the job, stay over, do this, and I wasn't taking care of myself.
yeah.
I would even sit down and do teaching with people about their medications, and I wasn't sitting, taking the teachings that God was trying to give me. And I was like, okay, I was like, all right, I see. Oh, okay, so
Mm,
that's what that phase of life was. Oh,
mm,
you something else, boy. I tell you, I'm like, okay, I hear you. So now it's like I am more, um, I wouldn't call it strict, but I'm very set on, can we fully control everything? No, because we're
no.
not meant to. However, if I'm in a space, mental, physical, environment, right, that it's not, like helping me to feel well, I would exit myself out. And
Mm,
and that's why I'm glad I have this higher sensitivity, to anything and everything, because I know the comparison of when I'm out in the trees and how
yeah.
good I feel, and then I go somewhere else, I'm like, oh, nope. Not to say I gotta feel just like the trees, but this is making me feel like not nice. So yes,
Yeah.
I clear myself out, and like you said earlier about that grain of thought,
Mm,
it's like, sometimes you gotta take, like you said, and then I know we said before about retraining,
yeah.
and even allowing myself not to be in spaces that are not well with me. But before I'd be like, no, this is what you got to do. It's like, no, you don't have to.
Yeah.
No, that's what you're choosing to do, but you don't have to. You've been given the signs, Nikki, that this does not, fit, help. you. So why are you continuing to do it?
Yeah.
But even like with a lot of medications, and yes, I do feel this way, that, like I said earlier, we were taught to tell a patient to weigh the pros and cons.
Mm.
Everybody's, so the pros and cons, that includes how this may help me, but how it may affect me. Now, I'm just gonna be honest. This comes from my mouth. When we are talking about pros and cons, or if they say if the benefits outweigh the risk, but your benefit and risk may be different from everybody else's.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if a side effect from a certain medication is blood clots, for Jane Doe and John Doe, they might be okay with that. But that might be a pro for them, but that might be a con or deal breaker for you. And like Thirmanda said, about listening to your inner guidance system,
Mhm.
please do. It's telling you, they, they might not be affected, because our bodies are different. And I'm gonna tell you guys this as well, because I believe a lot of people don't know about this. When side effects are listed, that is off group studies, groups that they have done before. But you are an individual. So you
Mhm.
might not have that certain side effect. You might have an effect that they have not listed yet. And when you're talking to someone and you say, well, this is going on and that's going on, headache, they're like, well, that's not a side effect, but your body is telling this an effect from you. Please, you all listen to your body. I know that's what Thirmanda came out saying, from the get-go. Learn the inner guidance, learn it. That's what we all here to do, you all, to learn ourselves. Like she said, about coming down. And I say, I believe that too, that we had a contract, things to
Mhm.
learn. We
Mhm.
signed that contract in blood,
Mhm.
and it's like, okay, we're gonna
Mhm.
come in this body and learn. Learn yourself, you all. Learn. But when we're in the fast pace, what is, much of what the US is teaching, has been teaching, it's hard to listen or feel yourself, because you're so much, enthralled in the doing, and, and being everything else for everybody else, but not allowing yourself to be. So
Mm.
advocate for the best of you. And I don't care who said, because we humans first before any
Yes.
other title. I have no
Mm.
problem saying that. But
Yes.
I'm not talking against what you are choosing to do with your practitioner, whoever this person is. But I still implore you to learn yourself, and that will help you, not only be better for yourself, but also being an example to others. Yes.
100%.
So, Thurmanda, I want you to tell everybody, how can they get in contact with you
Well, I
for the health coaching and everything?
yes. So right now you can find me on Instagram at Thirmanda_Zavala.
Okay.
And it's very easy to find because I'm the only Thirmanda.
That helps, yes.
Yes. So you can find me there. I'm also on Facebook as well.
Okay.
And I also have a podcast called A Woman Worth Healing.
Oh,
So on this platform, we speak about, pretty much what we spoke about here today.
yeah.
And uh, it's geared towards people with autoimmune diseases,
Okay.
but anybody could use it, right? We all could use some kind of healing vibes, right?
Yes.
So I'm also you can find me there. And in on the social media in Instagram and on Facebook, I also have a link tree, so it has
Okay.
more information on where to find me
Okay, good. I'm gonna
to
make sure
to
I put
contact
the
me.
link tree in there so they could get all the
Okay.
different links to get in contact with you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So that's probably the
Amanda.
easiest.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing this time, this space, and all this good information. I hope everybody was digesting all the goodness that they were taking in today.
Thank you so much for having me on.
You're
I greatly
welcome.
appreciate it. I love having conversations with like-minded people
Yes.
who are awakened and fully understand, like,
Yes.
what is most important.
Yes. Yes. So, you all, again, we will be, so this will be coming on Sunday. But other than that, please make sure that you are following Thirmanda on her different platforms so you could still get information on healing. And until the next time, I wish you all well, peace and blessings. Bye-bye. Thank you, Thirmanda.
Thank you, Nikki.
You're welcome. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.